Hey guys, thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And I hope you enjoyed this interview. We will be looking at the alleged budget padding controversy. My guest is joining me right now. Dr. Paul Alaje is the chief economist and partner at SPM Professionals. Hello, Paul, and welcome to the program.
Hello, and thank you so very much for having me.
Paul, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Good
Okay, I
morning.
can't hear you from my end. Okay, can you hear me?
Good morning. I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me? Good morning.
Okay, I can't hear you, Paul, but if you can hear me, can you speak to me about your take regarding this budget padding controversy furore that has seemed to crawl out again? We saw in 2016. Okay, I'll come back to that, but just give me what your take is.
Well, for me, I think it's a sad development. Whether it is confirmed or not, the fact that our Allo chambers have now turned to a place where people can discuss issues of padding of budget up to 3 trillion. 3 trillion naira, not 1 trillion, not 2 trillion, not 1 billion, not 100 billion, but in trillions. Whether the allegation was confirmed or not, the fact that it could even be mentioned in Allo chambers when the whole world is watching, and not just at any time, at a time where hunger is widespread, poverty is pronounced, deprivation is obvious, at a time where quote and unquote people who claim they are hungry are stopping trucks of those who are doing business on the road in the name of they are hungry. It is at the same time 3 point something, about 3.7 trillion naira was mentioned to have been padded into the budget of the people. As though that were not enough, there was another revelation on your own station yesterday where we saw one of the senators mention that about 500 million naira was given to some high-ranking Senate member, whether as constituency project or not, whether it's constituency project or it's not constituency project, it's another kettle of fish entirely. My main concern is the sensitivity of the conversation, the time of the conversation, and transparency that is embedded in a budgetary process. I must tell you, I have so much worry because all of these things that is happening in the Senate could even incite the public against the government, saying that they're insensitive to their hunger, they're insensitive to their poverty, and it appears to me as though there's so much money to go around for our development, for our growth, but there's so much greed that is halting this growth for our nation.
Paul, you know that Nigeria's budgeting process has really been under, under integrity, that is non-integrity test, as it were. Let me put it that way, because over the years, we've called for the integrity of Nigeria's budgeting process. And when this came up, my mind quickly went to 2016 under the Dogara's House of Representatives, where we saw, I think at that time, Honorable Jubrain. In fact, I think he was replaced by another rep member because there were issues about budget padding. I think then our budget was around 6 trillion naira in 2016. Now we're talking about 28 trillion naira in 2024. It also took me back to when President Buhari in 2021, I think, fumed over budget padding at the National Assembly too. This is also crawling back again. What does this say about the integrity of Nigeria's budgeting process? Vis-a-vis that we have Office of the Auditor General, as it were. There's also an Office of Accountant General. There is also a Budget Office of the Federation that should check all of this. The other senator that spoke yesterday about the 500 million naira that high-ranking senators got it, that he did not get it. Some are saying they didn't get up to that. He's come out also to say, okay, those are for constituency project. How does really all of this sound? And can we really get out budget padding out of our budgets? Can we get out padding out of our budgets moving forward?
Well, I must say that the network is a bit, there is glitch in the network, but I can make sense of all you've said. To my mind, I think when it comes to integrity of our budget, there is no particular system or structure. And to me, I also think it's a way for the executive to show how pally, to have a kind of pally with the National Assembly. And over the years, this has been the situation where the executive want to kind of quote and unquote extend House of Fellowship to the legislature at the detriment of Nigeria, at the detriment of Nigerian people. What I understand is that legislature cannot implement projects. They may, and projects should be awarded to different constituencies in Nigeria, whether at the Senate level or at the Federal House of Representative level. But when it is mentioned directly that they have been given 200 million, 500 million, quoting the person that alleged that 500 million have been given, then you know that it caused for a lot of worry. And to me, I would say that the integrity of our budget is very poor. Integrity of our budget is very low. One moment we say we don't have money, the other moment we hear that 3.7 trillion naira of money that is not there. Recall that this budget is not budget surplus, it's budget deficit. We'll still borrow money to finance this budget. And in that wise, we are still seeing or hearing of allegation of 3.7 trillion naira. That on one and 500 million naira. So it's obvious. We don't need anyone to inform us that integrity of our budget is very low. And in case where we even say we found iota of integrity, we need to do something about it. The Senate must redeem itself by coming to the public to make that budget very transparent. And I also want to task the civil society coalition, the coalition of civil society, to more than ever before, give report and account of what has happened with the 2024 budget. Because not because of anything, but because right now, Nigerians are directly paying more for the budget. Subsidy has been removed. That would have been taken care in the budget. So could it be that all the subsidy removed is what among Nigerians?
Okay. Okay, because I lost you a bit there, but I think you're back. Now, how can we fix the integrity of Nigeria's budgeting process? There is the Budget Office of the Federation. In fact, earlier this year, I had an interview with the DG of the Budget Office, Dr. Ben Akabweze, yes, and I came up with a question around these constituency projects and all of that. And when I asked him the question, he just started smiling, you know, in terms of the executive is almost like handicapped when it comes to the legislature putting their constituency projects in that budget. And I'm wondering how we can get the integrity process, because when it comes to that, who even monitors that? I saw, was it one of the ranking senators too, yesterday, I've forgotten his name, but he's from the South West, where he mentioned that it's left for Nigerians to see. Let them allow us implement this first. Then they will go back to their constituencies and see if we really implemented it. I've forgotten his name really when he mentioned it yesterday. How can we restore the integrity of Nigeria's budgeting process? Because this is not the first time. And my mind is going to, if the Budget Office of the Federation is somehow handicapped, is there something we can do? For instance, in the UK, they do have what they call the OBR, the Office of Budget Responsibility, that does an independent and authoritative analysis on UK's public finances. I don't know if the Budget Office of the Federation has a department such as that there. What can we do so that things like this don't happen again? I'm also aware that the NAS leadership went to see the president yesterday. It's really embarrassing at this point in time that Nigerians are really suffering, and our senators are just talking about money sharing, whether it's constituency project and all of that, yet nothing is being done to alleviate the poverty of Nigerians.
Well, a lot of boss talks on the administration, not just the National Assembly. But I can tell you what some countries have done in the past when they started noticing issue of budget padding. What they've done is to make the entire process transparent. So there is a given website where you can go and you can track the money from the time it was, from the process of initiation to the time it was approved eventually by the president. And all the monies, even to the time of Lizzie's budget implementation, you can track everything from beginning to the end. And I believe that the National Assembly can come up with an application. And if National Assembly does not want to do it, I want to task the executive under the leadership of President Tinubu to quickly come up with an application that can help track the budget from beginning to the end. And this should not be limited to the federal government, by the way. We must extend the same to states, and most importantly, to local government who are getting hundreds of millions of a monthly basis. But when you go to those areas, you ask whether the money was disbursed based on the local government budget, which I tell you that in the real sense of it is in complete absentia. That one. Two, I also could tell you that when you look at that of state, it's also in absentia. And even though there is budget in the state, but for most of the time, we could not really see what that could be. So transparency will help. And it could also be that the man speaking is just alleging, maybe he doesn't have the fact. This is I want to advise the distinguished Senator Akpabio, because of his administration and the relationship he have with the president, because people will think, oh, maybe the administration is corrupt. What I would advise to do is bring out transparency, let people see it, because normally an average politician in Nigeria will be alleged. Another politician in Nigeria will be accused. It is now important for the what's it called, the Senate, to now say we have brought a transparent process. Anyone can have access to this information and how it is done. Because if it is not that, it's not done that way, the Senate will continue to give opportunities for people to allege that this is done or that is not done. And at the end of the day, I tell you, Nigerians will be the one to pay. Already, Nigerians are paying with the removal of subsidy. Nigerians are paying with the lower value of Naira. Nigerians are paying with hunger, deprivation, and poverty. To end all of these is to bring application in place so that even if truly it is constituency project, we want the constituent to know how much has been approved for XYZ project in their areas, and they can do the work of monitoring much easily. Then we want civil society, who of course you can call them the fifth arm of government after the media, to also report more regularly and more frequently. This kind of project, I understand there are about 2 of them that have been doing a lot of work in the past, to encourage them to do more, to even have more organization in that space. I believe it will help Nigeria a great deal.
Okay, 2 questions as we end this session. Paul, what would you say to Nigerians at this time, since this issue is rearing its ugly head again in terms of, supposed docility? Because it seems that people like you and I that discuss the budget every year, as it were, do you think that perhaps this should be a call on Nigerians to wake up in terms of asking for the implementation of 2024 budget for us to see it through? Then number 2, what would you say to perhaps also the lawmakers and other analysts that have also mentioned that this process is not budget padding, because the National Assembly has the right to tinker with the budget when the executive sends it to it, and it tinkers with the budget and sends it back. So it's not padding.
Well, I'll start with the second one. The Nigerian National Assembly have the power of long pause, as we say it in economics. What that means is that the Nigerian National Assembly could actually review the entire budget, add to it, remove from it, remove edit, and put it back. The question is, the process with which the first set of budgets sent to them, the process with which it went through, are we saying that this added or removed process has gone through the same process? That is what many cannot say. And perhaps that is why those who claim that they are padding the budget have added all of those into their conversation. So for me, I think we should follow the path of transparency, which of course will help our country. Even those we are calling to come and invest in our country, these are the kind of things they check, whether they can truly invest in the country or not. But when all of these things are not transparent, and we're saying that we want to invite foreign investors to come to the country, what we forget is that when we are speaking of investors to come to Nigeria, we forget that these investors watch the programs on some of the things that have happened since the beginning of this week. And they're at the point of making up their mind. So they ask the question, if we go to a country where allegedly senators are hiding money or they're padding money and all of those, and this is coming from a high-ranking senator, which is yet to be confirmed, but it is very difficult for us to say the statement is not true. So all of these things we have negative impact on us, and to say the implication, negative impact on the naira, negative impact on our livelihood, negative impact on employment, negative impact on investment. So I'm not even talking directly to the money, whether that money was padded, it was shared or not. I'm saying that the potential inflow, I mean, that potential employment, all of them are going to be affected when we run our country like this.
All right, thank you very much, Paul, for your insights this morning. Thank you for watching. In case this is your first time watching us, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, drop your comments as well as like, and most of all, share our content.